Welcome back mga kabayan. Nagbabalik po muli ang inyong lingkod upang magbigay sa inyo ng mga bago at nagbabagang mga balita. Tila ba naging mainit na usapin ang isyong ito sa mundo ng social media? Congressman Rodante Marcoleta binigyan ng problema ang Quadcom o ang pinamumunuhan ng apat na mokong na kongreso na si Congressman Abante, Congresswoman Franz Castro, Congressman Raul Manuel sa pamumuno nitong si House Speaker Congressman Tukmol na si Tambaloslos Romualdez. Dahil nga binigyan or dahil nga sa matinding pagbabardagulan or pagbabardagul ni Marcoleta dito sa apat na tukmol na ito, tila ba ang Kamara ay nagkagulo na dahil itong si Abante, Castro, Manuel at Tamba ay tila ba parang nauntog na ang kanilang mga ulo na hindi na nag-iisip ang mga ito sa tama. Dito nga natin makikita nga mga kaibigan na itong apat na ito ay gusto na lahat talagang siraan itong si VP Inday Sara sa kanyang pamumuno or siraan ang pangalan ng mga Duterte para hindi na sila muli makaapak bilang isang mga government official sa ating bansa dahil alam nila na itong mga Duterte na ito ay kalaban ng mga katiwalian na katulad nila. Ngunit ang sigaw ng taong bayan na sana muli uling maging presidente ang isang Duterte upang ang kaayusan ng ating bansa ay umayos, hindi katulad ng administrasyon ni Kuting na ito na tila ba kung ano-ano ang nangyayaring katiwalian at kabalbalan sa ating bansa. Dati naman, nung pamumuno ni former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, wala itong tinatawag nating Quadcom or tila ba itong mga apat na tukmol na ito ay tahimik lamang dahil alam nila na kapag si Presidente or si former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte ang gumalaw ay tunay ngang merong maikukulong. Hindi tulad nila na puro sila bintang wala naman silang may labas na ebidensya. Well, para nga sa buong impormasyon ay panoorin na lamang ang buong video. At kung bago ka pa lamang sa ating channel ay huwag kakalimutang mag-subscribe, pindutin ang notification bell at piliin ang all upang laging maging updated sa mga bago at nagbabagang mga balita. At sa mga solid viewers naman natin dyan, maraming salamat naman po sa patuloy na pagtangkilik sa ating channel. Tuloy-tuloy lang po ang laban para sa katotohanan at para na rin sa kinabukasan ng ating pinakamamahal na bansang Pilipinas. Huwag din pong kakalimutang mag-iwan ng like at i-share ang ating mga videos. At kung meron ka naman pong hinaing, ang ating comment section ay bukas para sa inyong mga opinyon. Muli po maraming salamat and God bless the Philippines.
Alam nyo mga lords, mahirap kalaban si VP Inday Sara. Kasi talagang bestado kayong lahat And hindi takot si VP Inday Sara kasi in the first place, wala naman siyang tinatago. Diba? And in the first place, alam niya sa sarili niyang transparent siya. Sabi pa nga niya, bago siya pumunta ng Senate, bago siya pumunta ng House, pinablish na niya yung proposed budget at kung saan gagamitin sa OVP website, sa kanyang FB page para makita ng taong bayan, di ba? Kaya, grabe, kabahan talaga kay VP Inday Sara. Kasi ano ang mababatikos nyo kay VP Inday Sara? Wala. Kasi siya mismo, alam niya sa sarili niyang transparent siya. Alam niya sa sarili niyang wala siyang tinatago. Di ba? Kaya talagang kitang-kita mo ngayon. Kaya pala sobrang konti lang yung nagawa na classroom. Kasi wala naman pala kay VP Inday Sara ang control. Kahit DepEd Secretary siya. Pero hindi rin pala siya ang nagmamanage at, di ba, at nagko-control sa pag-construct at paggawa ng classroom kasi hawak pala yun nila Zaldi at Romualdez. Sila pa rin pala, ang house pa rin pala ang masusunod. So useless Tapos yung iba pa, kung makasisi kay VP Inday Sara, kunti lang daw yung classroom na pagawa. Syempre, hindi pala sa DepEd ang may control nun. Kaila Tambaloslos pala.
The opportunity of defending the OVP budget for 2025 by question and answer, and I leave it to the House of Representatives to decide on such proposal as presented. That was the template of an answer given by the Office of the Vice President. Madam Chair, napilitan po akong mag-raise ng parliamentary inquiry. I think I have earned this. If I survive my term up to next year, I would have survived also, or I would have completed 18 years in this institution. And in this length of time, I have observed a tradition. The tradition is the two highest positions of government, namely the office of the Vice President and the office of the President, are not traditionally subjected to questions. I have observed this for so long a time. May I refresh the memory of the members of this committee, Madam Chair. In 2022, the Minority Leader, Honorable Libanan, citing courtesy to the office of the Vice President, took only about 13 minutes to move for determination of the budget of the Vice President. And after that, the Majority Leader seconded the motion. That was 2022, Madam Chair. Then 2023, no less than the Presidential son, our own Senior Deputy Majority Leader, the Honorable Sandro Marcos, stood up and invoked the long-honored tradition of according courtesy to the OVP, the Office of the Vice President. And in the same manner, he moved for determination of the office of the budget, the consideration of the budget of the Office of the President, Vice President. I also recall, Madam Chair, that it was terminated. And with the full consternation of Honorable Franz Castro, who then objected, but her objections were never heard until she moved to make up record by way of manifestation her objection. But the committee collectively said, you can no longer do that because there was already a termination of the hearing. This is the time-honored tradition, Madam Chair. For so long a time, we have kept and observed this. We have upheld this tradition. My question is this committee authorized to set aside or discard the tradition? That is the question.
Your Honor, such motion was not introduced in the last hearing.
I'm now introducing the motion, Madam Chair.
I second, Madam Chair.
To terminate the consideration of the budget of the Vice President, Madam Chair, on the basis of the long and time-honored tradition, Madam Chair. In order for us to respect a tradition, in the same manner that we have respected the tradition here, that the first to interpolate every time is the member of the minority. That is the tradition. We have not yet discarded that. We're observing that because we are honorable members of this Congress. So the question is, why have we discarded that tradition? Is this committee authorized to set aside the tradition? If we are not able to do that, Madam Chair, then I honorably, respectfully now move to terminate consideration of the budget of the office of the Vice President, and I so move.
Second, Madam Chair.
Thank you.
Madam Chairman, Madam Chair, Madam Chair.
Move and seconded.
Session suspended. Yes. Sorry. Yes. Okay. The hearing is here very soon.
Madam Chair, I objected to the motion, and may I explain why?
We will take that up after we respond to the Honorable Marcoleta.
Thank you, Madam
But yes,
Chair.
we note that you made an objection, but your mic was off. So, the Honorable Marcoleta, please repeat your inquiry.
Yes, in connection to the earlier parliamentary inquiry, Madam Chair, I have already related the value of tradition. Parliamentary procedures, Madam Chair, grow from or are enriched by traditions, experiences, and precedents collectively gathered by the House of Representatives over years, and the institution keeps them well. That is why, from my entry in 2004 or the 13th Congress until today, I have observed the observance of that well-kept tradition. The two highest positions in government, namely the office of the President and the office of the Vice President, were duly accorded with respect and deference. I have observed that. That's why I have relayed to you earlier In 2022, the Honorable Libanan, invoking courtesy, took him only 13 minutes to dispose the office of the Vice President. And that was quickly moved, quickly seconded by no less than our majority leader. That was in 2022. I'm not going by record, Madam Chair. 2023, I said, no less than the presidential son, our own senior deputy majority leader, stood up and said that in line with the time-honored tradition of according courtesy to the office of the Vice President, I move to terminate the budget briefing of the OBP. And I can recall the Honorable Castro strongly objected. No, that's in 2023. This is by the record. And she objected, but her objections were rejected by the committee because the committee already terminated the proceedings. And she kept on requesting, Madam Chair, that she makes at least her manifestation. And she was unable to do that because the proceedings were terminated. So that, what I am saying, from 2004, when I entered these halls, these hallowed halls, hanggang punto sa sinasabi kong 2023, we have kept the tradition. Ngayon po, kung ano-ano ng mga tanong ang ginawa, in 2023, 22 minutes. 2022, 13 minutes. Ito po, pinagawa na po yung budget earlier at ngayon we're about to quarrel again on the budget. Ang tanong ko nga po ngayon, dahil nga po sa nangyayari ngayon sa budget ng Office of the Vice President, and despite her manifestation that she will no longer defend her budget because she forgoed, sabi niya, I will forgo my opportunity to defend the budget of the OBP for 2025 by way of question and answer, and I will leave to the House of Representatives to decide such proposal as presented. We cannot even accept such kind of answer, Madam Chair. What do we need her to articulate for? So ang pinag-uusapan po natin, wala na po ba yung respeto sa tradisyon na yun? Kagaya po ng binabanggit ko, every time mag-interpellate po dito, Madam Chair, because of that tradition, it's always the member of the minority who will start the interpellation because we have kept that tradition. Ang dami po. Ang dami ko pang sasabihin sa inyo, haba lang tayo. So the question is, when we did that to the Vice President earlier, now we're doing it now, are we now setting aside this tradition? That's number one question. Number two, is this committee authorized to set aside the tradition?
Your Honor, short answer is no to both questions.
Okay. If that is the answer, Madam Chair, and we are all bound to respect one tradition so sacred in our hearts, because we are called honorables in this House. We cannot be honorables if we cannot honor our own tradition. We are defined by what we believe as a tradition in this House. So if we are now all amenable that we have kept that tradition, no longer questions are being asked, then I will respectfully move, Madam Chair, to move to terminate the budget of the OBP for 2025.
I object, Madam
Thank
Chair.
you.
I object.
Madam Chair, I
There's a
object.
motion to terminate the budget briefing of the OVP, but there is an objection, so we divide the House. The chair has decided to divide the House. So those
Madam Chair,
in favor
as
of the motion,
as a rule, we usually deliberate before we vote.
those in favor
We deliberate.
of the motion, please raise your hand. Those in favor of the motion to terminate the budget briefing of the OVP, please raise your hand.
All those against.
Those who are not in favor of terminating, raise your hand.
For non-tradition. Okay. Three in favor, 45 against.
3 in favor, 45 against.
Motion is
The motion
lost.
is
Lost.
lost.
Madam Chair, I thought we have kept the tradition. The tradition is no longer ask any question. That was the tradition. So why are you voting against it? the motion.
The majority of the will is always respected.
It's inconsistent with the tradition that we have already agreed to observe.
So, we will
Yes, Madam
proceed
Chair.
to the next.
You mentioned earlier that we will keep up the tradition. You said no. Earlier,
For
no,
orderly
we voted
proceedings, I
against.
remind the members to please wait to be recognized before speaking. So, the chair now recognizes the
Madam
budget
Chair.
sponsor, the Honorable Zia Adyong, to give a recap of what transpired in the last hearing.
Madam Chair,
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Madam Chair, before we proceed with Vice Chair Adjong, can I
Yes,
explain my vote, Madam Chair?
Paduano?
Can I explain my vote? Why I voted against the motion of the Honorable Marcoleta? Just a short lang.
You have 1 minute.
Thank you po. Madam Chair, tama po. During the previous hearing, wala pong nag-move to terminate the budget. That's number 1 po of the OBP. Number 2 po, the demeanor of the answers being given by the Vice President during the time. Personally, it does not satisfy this representation. Thirdly, Madam Chair, the courtesy being given to the Office of the Vice President is afforded if she is present in today's hearing. How can you give that courtesy when Paki is absent in today's hearing, Madam Chair? I might change my vote for that, but
Was the President of the Philippines
Are you
present?
recognized?
Please. Please
I am
wait
about
to
to
be
be recognized,
recognized.
Madam Chair.
Please wait to be recognized. Please proceed, Kong Paduano. You
You're
have
not
30
yet recognized,
seconds.
Marcoleta. Madam Chair, maybe I will change my vote if for the motion of Marcoleta if the Vice President is present in today's hearing. But he's absent. How can I personally vote for that? Because he's not present in today's hearing, Madam Chair, and that courtesy should be given to those head of office that should be present during the budget deliberation, Madam Chairman. Thank you.
So, Kong Zia, you are now recognized. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Majority Leader, Representative Manix Dalipe, Committee Chair Saldico, members, honorable members of this committee, Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Good morning po sa ating lahat and welcome to the continuation of the budget briefing of the proposed 2025 budget for the Office of the Vice President. Madam Chair, in the previous hearing for fiscal year 2025, the Office of the Vice President proposed a budget of 2,037,305. As of the most recent report, the OVP has an obligation rate of 39.9% for 2024. During the last budget briefing, several topics were propounded that the committee sought to be clarified upon. First, members of the committee asked the Office of the Vice President regarding the notice of disallowance issued by COA for the confidential funds released in 2022 indicated that 73 million pesos or 58.6% of total was not utilized in compliance with Joint Memorandum Circular 2015-01 of COA, DBM, DILG, GCG, and DND. The Commission on Audit has ordered the disallowed amount to be returned. Second, several members of the committee examined the grounds for the disallowance. The COA report stated that this was due to non-compliance with guidelines and the non-submission of supporting evidence or documents. Third, it was noted by members of the committee that the 125 million pesos confidential fund for the fiscal year 2022 was utilized from December 1 to December 31 of the same year, in 2022. A common comment by members, Madam Chair, was that this short period of time, within which a huge amount of fund is spent, raised further clarificatory questions on the validity of the spending. Fourth, members of the committee raised that there were supposed duplications between the Office of the Vice President's medical and burial assistance programs and those provided by the DOH and the SWD. Clarifications were sought on how these overlaps would be addressed to ensure the proper use of resources. Fifth, there were inquiries about the accessibility of various OVP programs, such as the Educational Assistance Program, the Kalusugan Food Track, and the Magnegosyo Taday initiative for MSMEs. The committee sought further information on how these programs align with the OVP's mandate. And lastly, Madam Chair, the committee requested an explanation of how the OVP's programs reflect its constitutional mandate and whether the proposed 2025 budget will support continued progress in these areas. That would be all, Madam Chair, and I would yield back the floor to the Senior Vice Chair, Representative Stella Quimo. Maraming salamat po at magandang umaga po sa ating lahat.
So we shall begin interpretation Siyempre nakakalungkot na wala tayong representatives mula sa OVP, pero muli meron tayong representatives mula sa DBM at COA. And again, I would like to
Madam Chair.
remind our members that you each have 5 minutes for your interpellation, and to remind our resource persons that those 5 minutes will not include your responses. And so the first
Madam
to
Chair.
interpellate from the minority, we have the Honorable Ramon Rodrigo Gutierrez. You have 5 minutes. The floor is yours, Kong Rog.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Good morning po to our resource persons from the COA and the DBM. Madam Chair, this representation, first and foremost, laments the fact that the Office of the Vice President has failed to appear today. We lament the fact that, as I understand, the committee actually extended courtesy. In the letter, it was indicated that the Vice President may or may not attend. However, it is required that a representative be here. Unfortunately, not even a representative is present here, kahit Yusek man lang, ASEC, not even a director, for us to be answer questions. As a personal courtesy to the Office of the Vice President and understanding her responses from the last hearing, this representation has opted to question mostly the budget of 2023 regarding the regular budget. But even then, unfortunately, it would seem that the OVP is not here for us to question. So but in line with their duty in the House for the deliberation of the budget, I will carry on with my questions, siguro po dito na lang si COA, because coincidentally, my questions are precisely on the COA report. So with that, Madam Chair, I will be now proceeding with my questioning to the COA.
Point of order, Madam Chair.
What is your point of order, and please explain the rule that is violated?
The rule violated, Madam Chair, is our tradition. You just upheld that the tradition will be respected. And so, if questions will still be asked, then the tradition that we have kept so well, that you have said that we're not about to discard right now, will be disrespected again. I thought we understood each other.
There was already a ruling.
Kong Marcoleta, we had already voted earlier on that issue.
That's
on
another
addition,
matter,
so
Madam Chair.
your point is not well taken. Please proceed, Kong Rog.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So, Madam Chair, I'd like to direct my question to the COA. Madam Chair, I understand part of the budget of the OVP was utilized for the construction of satellite offices. Would that be confirmed by the COA?
The Office of the Vice President has several satellite offices. 3 established in 2022 and 7 were established in 2023. So it's I stand corrected. 3 force based on the report, or 7 was established in 2022 and 3 was established in 2023. So around 10 satellite offices were established by the Office of the Vice President.
Madam Chair, my next question was supposedly about whether there were additional satellite offices or extension offices established in 2024. But I believe the COA will not be able to answer this, so I will forgo this question. I also have a question as to whether there will be additional SOs and EOs in 2025 as to their proposed budget. But I understand also the COA will not be in a position to answer this, so I will forgo this. Madam Chair, based on the OVP, annual audit report for 2023, there is an item there regarding the rent and lease expenses. Would you be able to clarify with us what were your findings on rent and lease expenses?
Based on our observations, there are no major deficiency or significant deficiencies on the rent expenses of the OVP.
Sorry, Madam Chair, may I clarify, magkano po yung lease expenses that you have found in your audit report?
Based on the notes to financial statement prepared by the agency, the amount of rent expenses for the year 2023 is around 53,463,434.11.
And Madam Chair, for fiscal year 2022, how much po yung lease nila?
For the 2022, it is 29,867,228.20.
So roughly from around 30 million to 53 million po yung increase no, ng rent natin. Okay, thank you. But for these SOs and EOs, actually, Madam Chair, in this juncture, I was supposed to ask the Office of the Vice President if there was any studies conducted as to the locations of the satellite offices and extension offices. But as there's no representative, I will have to forego this question. Madam Chair, may we ask the COA, based on their reports in the previous administrations, were satellite offices and extension offices constructed by previous administrations?
On my knowledge, based on my knowledge, the previous office of the Vice President or the previous administration for Office of the Vice President does not have a satellite offices.
No satellite offices. Thank you, Madam Chair. And Madam Chair, what exactly is the function of, based on your audit and based on your investigation, what is the exact function of a satellite office or extension office?
Based on our audit, the satellite offices has the functions to extend the social services such as the medical and burial assistance of the programs of the Office of the Vice President.
Madam Chair, so it's meant to be an extension of the social services function?
Yes.
But Madam Chair, I understand in your executive summary, you also, as COA, you familiarize yourselves with the office and the function, and the mandate is necessary for you to determine whether or not it is in line with what they are supposed to be doing, correct, Madam Chair? So, Madam Chair, with the OVP, what is the exact mandate of the Office of the Vice President, as far as the COA is concerned?
Based on the notes to financial statement or our report, the OVP is a national government agency established under Section 3 of the Article 7 of the 1987 Constitution of the Republic of the Philippines, and later reorganized on July 24, 1987 under Executive Order number 240. And then, as the second highest office in the land committed to the service of the nation, OVP performs executive, ceremonial, and advocacy functions, collaborating with stakeholder and organization in both public and private sectors to develop and promote programs that uplift the lives of the Filipino.
Madam Chair, according to the COA, in your opinion, can the OVP continue its programs without satellite offices and extension offices? As you mentioned, in the previous administrations, wala naman pong SO, wala namang EO. So, based on your audit findings, would it be absolutely necessary that we have this rent and lease expenses?
I think if the question is kung necessary po ba yung mga pag-open ng extensions offices, I think the question must be addressed to the Office of the Vice President, not the auditors. But then on our point of view, based on our audit, that to extend the services, it is considered or it may be okay for the Office of the Vice President to open an extension office or satellite offices to extend their services.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Actually, I would agree, and I was actually considering foregoing that question, but I just wanted to get the COA's opinion since they have institutional and historical knowledge of yung previous administrations and the fact that they were able to carry out their functions without satellite offices and extension offices. But with that, Madam Chair, understanding also that tama naman po yung sinabi ng COA that perhaps the SO and the EOs are there to assist in the administration of other functions of the OVP. I understand that there's a finding in your observations and recommendations, number 8, regarding the cash advances. Can you please clarify? Ano po ito?
Madam Chair, under the number 8 of the observation, this is the under and over budget allocation for each satellite offices. Based on our review on the average monthly disbursement of each satellite office, based on the actual expenses for CY 2023, it disclosed that the cash advances granted to the disbursement officers in the OVP satellite office were not within the 2-month budget requirements as required by the Section 20, Chapter 6, Volume 1 of the GAM for NGAS. So there is an under and over 2-month budget requirements.
Madam Chair, my understanding po of this cash advance is to allow for the orderly administration of those functions of the SOs and EOs po, no? And rightly, there are guidelines with the COA that 2 months po yung ideal na meron na parang for their operating usage. Madam Chair, can the COA correct us? Based on their understanding of the nationwide needs of budgeting and auditing, are all regions equal po ba? Are all the requirements equal throughout the country? Or varying naman po siya based on demographic, based on demand? With other functions, for example, in your auditing of the DSWD, sa history po ninyo, when auditing their social services functions, equal po ba palagi ang budget ng kanilang regional offices?
Madam Chair, on my knowledge, actually, dapat po mayroong assessment on the scope or the number of beneficiaries involved, kasi kung assistance po ito, kailangan natin i-consider yung number of beneficiaries, so hindi po dapat equally.
Correct. So we should be actually considering ano po yung pangangailangan ng ating mga kababayan, ilan po yung ating mga kababayan doon, yung population center, yung how far they are from the office. Yun po ay mga aspects that we consider when setting up regional offices. That would be a fair assumption to make. Correct po, no, Mr. Chair? Madam Chair?
Madam Chair, yes.
Yes. Madam Chair, do you find it odd that for all of these satellite offices, they share an equal 2.2 million cash advance? Except, of course, for the BARM, which suspiciously only has 200,000 cash advance granted?
For this observation, the Office of the Vice President established or equally granted cash advance for 2,200,000 for each satellite office except for the BARM. So kaya po meron kaming observation na over budget utilization kasi for us, I think hindi dapat siya uniform. It must be consider po yung lawak ng scope or yung mga beneficiaries involved po natin para po ma-consider yung tamang amount na i-establish po natin. So as you can see in the report, there's under over budget requirements. So meron pong mga satellite offices na sobra-sobra yung budget. At the same time, meron naman pong mga satellite offices na kulang yung budget.
Madam Chair, parliamentary inquiry, Madam Chair. Madam Chair, parliamentary inquiry.
The Honorable Abante.
It is also a cherished tradition in Congress that whenever we deliberate the budget of a certain agency, that the head of the agency must be present. At this point in time, there are no staff here. The head of agency present on the office of the Vice President. And we only have a DBM here. A DBM even answered that only, the COA even answered that only the OVP could be able to answer that. Perhaps we could be able to say it. Kanina, sinabi rin po ni Congressman Marcoleta, a cherished tradition to approve the budget immediately. But there's a cherished tradition that when we deliberate a budget of any agency, that the head of agency should be present. That is my parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Chair.
So, as we had explained earlier, we received a letter dated 10 September. At doon sa liham na yon, pinaliwanag ng ating Vice Presidente na sinabmit na po niya lahat ng mga documents na sa tingin niya ay kakailanganin ng Kongreso sa ating pagkilatis ng kanyang budget.
Yes, Madam Chair.
And so yun po ang sitwasyon natin sa ngayon. Pwede natin, pagkatapos ng ating interpellation, pwede natin desisyonan kung anong gagawin. Pero sa ngayon, ipapagpatuloy muna natin ang pagtatanong.
Madam Chair, let me explain. No? But her letter, actually, na her not being present here, is an insult to this institution. When we had the last hearing, I even questioned her if this institution has the right to scrutinize the budget, and she even failed to answer. My goodness, I think that her writing a letter to us telling us that she has completed this, she still must be present, Madam Chair. And because she is not present, she is actually insulting the second institution that should scrutinize the budget of the Vice President. And I do not care even if she is the Vice President, Madam Chair. I will not allow that Congress will be insulted.